This is Specialist Jonathan Still with the Oklahoma Army National Guard. I serve in the 1345th Transportation Company. My MOS is 88 Mike, a motor transport operator. I am 31 years old, married with 2 children, and I hope that you are doing well. I appreciate you viewing this video. Please, when you finish watching it, let me know what you think. Put your comments down below. Share this video with those who may be interested as well. The reason I'm making this video, I want to well, first let me say that there's a lot of videos out. It's become the new trend to make a video about basic training, what to expect, experiences, and all that. Not just for basic training, but for AIT as well. And I have seen a lot of videos on what to pack, what to expect from the drill sergeants. Are the drill sergeants this, that, and the other? And while those are good videos, I haven't seen a lot of videos that talk about what an individual who's a little older, who has a family or who has children, what they should expect. I don't see a lot of that. A lot of it because the videos that are being made are by 18, 19-year-olds, 20, some odd year olds. And then if you have someone that's my age that is talking about basic training, they're talking from a viewpoint that was perhaps 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 6 years ago. And a lot has changed in the military, even in a short period of time like 6 years. And so I wanted to give a more updated view, and hopefully it helps you. Today is September the 10th, 2014. It's actually my wedding anniversary, my 3rd year wedding anniversary. I'm waiting right now for my wife to get home. I happen to be off work today. And so the majority of what I'm going to say with regards to why I decided to enlist in the National Guard is family oriented. About this time last year, well, I guess I should say that for years, I had the desire to join the military. I wanted to be a part of a team. I wanted to be able to contribute, to help people, to be a blessing to people's lives. I've had opportunities to do that, church, in the ministries that we provide. I've had opportunities to do that in political endeavors that I've had. I've had opportunities to do that at school, but I really wanted the opportunity to do that in the military. When I graduated high school in 2001, September the 11th happened, shortly after I graduated. And being honest, I was fearful, as many Americans were at the time, and just really not understanding what we were getting ourselves into. But over the years, through struggle and success, you grow up. You become mature because of life experiences. And I thought that this would be the best time for me. So about this time last year, August, September of 2013, my wife and I went out to celebrate our 2nd year wedding anniversary, and we went to a location in downtown Oklahoma City where we live. Well, we live in Oklahoma City, but we went downtown Oklahoma City and went to eat. As we got to the location, we ran into some recruiters from the Oklahoma Army National Guard. They were having a formal event where we were, and just really impressed with how even in a relaxed environment as a formal ball, they were still really squared away. And spoke to them on the elevator, told them that I had interest in the Army National Guard, see it as an opportunity to take care of my family, and like to get more information. Person put me in touch with a recruiter. The first sergeant that I spoke to, he put me in touch with a recruiter, and the recruiter, through the next month, worked with me. He taped me, made sure I had all my documents in order, and long story short, through the interesting process that is MEPS, I enlisted October 22nd, 2013, as I said earlier. Once I enlisted, I had opportunity to go to RSP, which is the Recruitment Sustainment Program drills. Those are designed for individuals who recently enlist. They have some time between their enlistment and the time they actually go to basic training. This is to give them some hands-on experience as to what to expect in basic training, how to handle yourself, be familiar with customs and courtesies and other things that you're going to be learning in basic training. And even though I went through those things, I wanted to know more, and I wanted to experience more. You know, being that you're in your 30s, you're very analytical. You tend to ask questions on everything because you've been doing it in a certain way for a certain period of time. And now you're having to, in a way, reprogram yourself, retrain yourself is really a better term I like to use, to do what the military, specifically the Army, is having you do. And that was in some ways it was a challenge, but it wasn't, and I'll get into that here in a little bit. While I'm going through this, I was still in school. I'm currently pursuing a master's degree at Oklahoma Christian University. My wife, at the time, was finishing her bachelor's degree at the same university. She has not been working because we made the sacrifice for her to go to school, support that, and then of course I'm in school. So I've been carrying the financial load and doing all I can to take care of my family. But when I enlisted, I was actually between work. The job I worked with in county government fell through, and other opportunities. Plus, I thought I was going to basic training earlier than I was. And so when that didn't happen, I had to figure out what I was going to do in a 3-month time frame to provide and make sure that my family had all that they needed. And so I took some odd jobs, worked for a couple of temp agencies, finally landing a more permanent position with Quail Springs Mall Security here in Oklahoma City. Good people, by the way. So, one thing I will say as an individual preparing for basic with a family, if you never gave your spouse full disclosure of all your important documents, which hopefully you've been married or in a steady relationship, that's something that either if it's not come up in conversation, it needs to. But if you, especially if you're married, if you have not given your spouse access to email and all that, I would encourage you to do that. One, it saves you a big argument from, it saves you big hassle, prevents you from having a big argument, and it shows your spouse that you can trust them. And if you can't trust them, it's a whole nother conversation for another day. And sometimes, especially as men, we think that we have made things easy for our spouses to access what they need to access. And so I found myself having to backtrack and make sure that my wife had all of my password information for my email, for bank information, make sure that she had what she needed, because at the time that I went for basic training, January of 2014, and knowing I was going to be gone for 4 months, she was going to have to file our taxes. She was going to have to pay the car payment. And I wanted to make sure that she had the ability to do all those things that I was doing, and that people who she needed to contact and all that was very accessible to her. And so I went through that process. I also made sure that my kids were aware and started to kind of get them in the use and the habit of um, me going and be gone for a long period of time. My 6-year-old, I have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, both boys. And the 6-year-old was, at first he was okay with the fact that Daddy was going to be gone, but in his mind he thought maybe I'd be gone all day like I am for work, maybe a day or two, but I'm going to come back. I'll still be there for birthday and other important things. And when I wasn't, it affected him. But we got through it, and those things are something you need to consider. Knowing that you're joining the military long term for the benefits, the opportunity to serve, perhaps the educational things that you gain, but while you enlist and you do those things, you have to go through basic, and in basic you're going to be cut off from the world so that you can focus on training. And so you are going to miss birthdays, you're going to miss holidays, you're going to miss things that you may, if you're a big football fan, well, there's no football that you're going to watch. You're going to miss the Super Bowl. When I went to basic training, the week after I got there was the Super Bowl against Seattle and Denver. It wasn't until I think April when I actually found out what the score was. I knew who won, but I didn't even know what the score of the game was until after I graduated basic training. And I think recently I may have watched a few highlights from that game. So things like that, just you're gonna miss. My oldest son, his birthday was while I was in basic training. My birthday actually hit when I went to AIT, which was from April to May, and then I came home. So be prepared for that. Another thing to be prepared for, as you're preparing to go, that's definitely a great opportunity for you to enhance meaningful relationships that you have. You're going to be gone for basic training for 10 weeks, and however long you're going to be gone for your AIT. You're going to be surrounded by people at basic training that don't look like you, that don't believe what you believe. Their paradigm or their view of life is totally different, and you're going to have to work with them. Those are going to be your new family. Your battle buddies will be the ones that you will cry with, get frustrated with, and have to get through with in order to graduate and to move to the next thing. And so you're not going to be with, back home, you're not going to be with mama, daddy, husband, wife, children. While you are preparing, take those times to build on your relationship. Build on your relationships, plural. As a married individual, take the time to get to bond with your spouse. Don't spend your last days arguing and fussing and just doing all that nonsense, because then if you leave your spouse on bad terms, one, it will bother you when you're away from them, and not knowing when the next time you're going to be able to talk to your spouse or your other family members. Unfortunately, I saw individuals in basic training whose spouses left them because they left on bad terms, because when they did get a chance to speak to their spouses or significant others, it was always negative, it was very disrespectful, and you just don't want that type of effect on your family. You want to leave on a positive. Then when you write letters and everything like that, you want them to write you back. You want them to communicate with you and still keep in contact. And so while you're gone, you want them to reach out to you. So you have to do what you have to do now to enhance that relationship, so it then blesses you later on down the road. Another thing that I will say is, as a married individual preparing for basic training, get around other couples. Couples, identify those areas in that perhaps you struggled with, and try to mentor others coming through the process. Find someone to mentor, so that you can share with them what you went through, not just from you as a soldier or a service member, but also from the spouse's perspective. Those things are going to definitely help. And those those who are coming along, getting ready for basic training, it would be to your benefit to find people like that, that they can help you through this. They can give you some real talk, some real life answers that are relevant. Another thing that I would say, when you graduate, if you graduate, mind you, the military is, and I will admit, I did not have an appreciation for this as I do now. I knew the military was significant. I knew the military was honorable. But I didn't quite understand the perception of most individuals in America regarding the military, and the honor and the respect that's given for those who serve. Whether you've been deployed or not, the fact that you made the decision to serve and defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, to those who either made that commitment prior to you, or those who are not bold enough to make that commitment, you gain a lot of respect. And that needs to be understood. But along that line, when you join, understand that you're not going to be around people who feel the same way you do. Some people are going to quit, especially in the processing stage, which I never understood why. You've done all this stuff, and then you get to reception, or your in processing period, when you get to basic training, and then you want to just up and quit. I think that's kind of selfish, but that's another story, another time, for another video. So not everybody is cut out for the military. And those, even in your basic training and AIT, some of them will quit, and they will not continue. So if you are motivated, and you finish, and you pass, you graduate, you move on to the next step, you finish and you pass. If you're active duty, obviously you'll have about 10 days of leave, and you'll be able to go home, get things in order, and start getting ready to go to your next duty station. As a family, you have to be prepared to move them, or there might be a 2 or 3 month window from the time that you leave to when they can leave, and you need to make sure you have that in order, because you can't just expect your spouse, especially if that person's been taking care of the kids by themselves, to be in that mindset, okay, we got to go, got to move. So understand that whether you're active duty, reserves, or the National Guard, that once you get back home, whether it's just for a small period of time, or if you're in the reserves and National Guard and you're actually going back home, you kind of have to get back into the civilian world. Um, Understand that however long you were gone, statistically they say that's how long it's going to take you to reorient yourself. Do what you have to do slowly to reorient yourself. The mistake that I made when I got back home from AIT, I was still in the training mode. I still have a strong desire to get things done. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Excuse me. And I need to be more tight on that. But I'm like, let's go. I can do this. I can run a mile. I can jump hoops. Well, not everybody feels the same. Not everybody's gonna feel that same way. And you have to understand that not everybody is going to be as excited or as motivated about the military or other things as you are, especially your spouse. Now, he or she will be happy for you, and they'll always support you, but they may not want to get up early in the morning to do PT. They may not want to hear revelry and retreat to the colors and taps at 6:30, 5 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, respectively. They may not want to hear cadences, running cadences, and all those other things. And while that's still in you, and then the other experiences you have, understand that your spouse is in a different perspective. They're in a different mindset, and that's okay. Try your best to understand that they've been without you for a certain period of time. They've created a process that's worked for for your household while you were gone. Don't expect to go back home and or even reunite with your family and think that everything's going to be the same way it was as it was before you left for basic training in AIT, because it's not. Some people don't really understand that until it's too late. Hopefully you can be a smart person and not have to deal with that. You can learn from other people's experiences. So much, we're already at 22 minutes plus. There's so much I want to share. So much more information to give. I will make another video and I'll go into some other nuts and bolts. So I hope this has helped. If I can be of any encouragement to you or any assistance on other questions, you can, like I said, comment below, and we can exchange information privately that way. And if you'd like for me to call you or email you back with any questions, I'll definitely do what I can. So thank you. God bless you, and we will speak to you soon.